I was about 15 years old when a guy at my church started to be interested in me. He was a couple years older, 3 at least, and most people in the church didn't know him at all. Came with his mom and his sister, and they were both really sweet, but like most people, they kept their family problems to themselves. He seemed really nice at first. He was funny, and he seemed like he wanted to be my friend. And there's nothing wrong with that. So he got my phone number, and we would talk and text, and everything was fine until he decided to start pushing this idea of sex on me. And just telling me that there was no point in waiting, and telling me that it was a lot of fun, and just all kinds of stuff. And I wasn't ready, and I knew that. And so I started to back away from him and distance myself, to just try to get away from the whole situation as best as I could. But it's really hard to do that when you see someone every week. And I remember the week that it got really bad. I was helping a lady at my church do children's church with the young kids, the 6 to 8 year olds. And he knew that I was helping, so he decided to ask if he could help too. And of course she said yes. And I don't remember what the lesson was about that day. I don't remember what kids were in the class. All I remember was him pulling up a chair right next to me. And every time the teacher turned her back, he had his hands on my back, my lower back, on my thighs, and trying to rub between my legs. And he wouldn't stop. And he just kept telling me how sexy I was, and how he wanted me, and how he knew that I wanted him to, and how I should just stop fighting it because it was what I wanted, and he could tell. And it just kept getting worse from there. And I think what scared me the most about it was this was happening in a place where I was supposed to feel safe. It was happening in a place full of people that I had grown up with, that I saw as my family. And a place where you're supposed to lay down your burdens and feel free. That was terrifying, having that taken away from me. And I didn't know what to do. The teacher never even noticed. And I tried not to bring too much attention to it because I didn't want to upset the children. So I dealt with it for an hour and a half. And as soon as class was over, I left so fast. And I remember feeling just so sick to my stomach and feeling dirty. And for weeks, I was scared to go to church. I was scared he would be there. I was scared he would touch me again. And that's when I realized. Weeks later, I finally realized I didn't have to be scared because it's my body. And if I didn't want him to touch it, he had no right. So about a month and a half after the first day I talked about, I went and helped with children's church again. And of course he volunteered. And he started to touch me. And I very quietly leaned over and whispered in his ear, "If you touch me one more time, I swear to God, I will castrate you right here." He just stared at me for a minute and leaned back in his chair. And I moved my chair to the other side of the room. And this time he didn't follow me. And ever since then, he hasn't come near me. Instead, he just stares at me sometimes. But I'm just so happy to not have those hands burning into my flesh anymore. I guess I made this video because there's so many people who are harassed every year who don't tell anyone. And if we continue that way, nothing will ever be solved. If you are strong, you are so strong, and you are strong enough to survive what someone did to you, you are strong enough to talk about it. You're not a victim, you're a survivor. You are a survivor.
I want to live where soul meets body, and let the sun wrap its arms around